Hi, and on the behalf of No Love Incorporated, welcome to this video. If you're looking at this video, more than likely you are dating and it's probably not going the way that you want it to go, and you just want to go about dating better or get some understanding as to what you could possibly be doing wrong to prevent it from going the way that you want to. Or you're probably about to start dating and you don't want to go about it the wrong way, so you want to kind of take some preventative measures to prevent you from going through this thing called a relationship journey, to avoid it just going the wrong way, or doing everything that you can from a preventative standpoint to prevent you from wasting your time. So with this video, I decided to share the top 5 things that people do when it comes to dating that you definitely do not want to do. Before I go into that, I want to tell you who I am. I am Edward L. Fairley. I am the founder and CEO of No Love Incorporated, which is a holistic relationship firm which empowers and enlightens my clients on how to experience love on purpose as opposed to by chance. So much so that once they finish their journey with me, they are able to coach and counsel themselves through their relationship experiences. So I'm not going to go too much more about my company and who I am. Clearly, you've clicked on this video to get more information about how to go about dating correctly or in a way that will make you successful at it. So let's get into those top 5 reasons. Clearly, there's a lot of others, but this is the most common that I see in my field that is causing people to go about it the wrong way. The first thing that people do is they date when they don't want to be alone, when they don't like being alone. And that is probably the worst out of the 5 things that you can do, because that means you are going to be dating desperately. You're going to be tolerating anything because you don't even like you. For you to be in a predicament where you don't like being by yourself, that means you don't enjoy your own company. If you say things like, I'm in this relationship, or you stayed in a relationship because you don't want to be alone, that means you don't like you. So how can you expect someone else to like you? So one of the things that you definitely need to do is get to the point where you enjoy being by yourself, love being alone, so that when it's time for you to date, you don't just tolerate anything. Low self-esteem attracts low lives, and if you're going into dating with a low self-esteem, you're going to be receptive to anything just so that you can fulfill that thought of a need to have someone in your life for you to be happy. And again, I say thought because that is something that you've concluded. It's not really truth. You've decided, you made a decision that it would take you being with someone for you to be happy, as opposed to realizing that that's something that happens within. That's something that you decide, and no one can really bring you happiness. You have to already have that and bring it to the table so that they'll know that to be in your environment, you should already be happy, and they'll know, and you'll know that they're the right one or the not the right one, because you won't tolerate anything less than the happiness that you already have. So that is something that you really need to make sure you have intact. You should not be dating unless you're already happy by yourself. So that's the first thing. The second thing is kind of similar to it, actually. It is people who put up a facade to win people over. Now, that is also a self-esteem issue. If you feel like you have to alter yourself or act a certain way to win someone over, that means you don't really like who you are. If you have to alter yourself and make up things or act a certain way so that someone will like you, that means you think indirectly that the actual person that you are is not likable, and that person would not be receptive to who you are. And the worst thing that happens with that is, say you do win them over, you really don't have love, or you never found love because they fell in love with a fictitious person, the person that you acted like. So that's when you get into the relationship, and as time goes by, they're saying stuff like, you don't do the things you used to do, or you're not how you were in the beginning, and you resent them from trying to change you, when in actuality they're just trying to change you back to who you acted like. So the best thing for you to do is to be yourself, your authentic, genuine self, so that when someone falls in love with you, they really fall in love with you. Because if you're acting and you get someone to fall in love with the act, they still have not fallen in love with you. So you still have yet to find love. So the worst thing you can do, or one of the worst things you can do, is to act a certain way to win someone over. Be you. That way you know when you found love that you've really found love, because they love who you are as a person. You won't have to alter yourself later. You can just maintain a relationship by being who you already are, because they love who you are. So first thing is, people have low self-esteem and they don't like being alone, so they go into relationships or they go into dating in hopes to find someone that's going to make them happy when they're not happy. So indirectly, you're insatiable anyway, because if you can't make you happy, you can't even relay how they need to make you happy. So the second thing is to act a certain way to win someone over. If you're acting, that means you don't like you. That's another self-esteem issue. You need to work on loving yourself, so much so that you have no problem with being yourself and accepting or being accepted by anyone that you're going to consider being in a relationship with. The third thing is that the people are dating without a list. And what I mean by a list is they have no idea who they're looking for. If you don't know what you're looking for, how do you know you found it? And when I say list, I don't mean a list of physicalities. More than likely, if you find the right one, they're not going to look like anyone that was in your prom pictures or the people that you've been with in the past. I don't know how it works out that way, but the physicalities mean absolutely nothing. You should have a list of morals, values, views on life, and characteristics that this person should have that will maintain the happiness that you have and that you would not accept it. When, as far as my company and my teachers are concerned, I call it a non-negotiable list. And when I mean non-negotiable, is like this list, this person has to have these things or it's a no-go. Like when you're dating, it's not that you have a checklist, but you have a mental list, and as you all converse and have experiences, they are checking off those things, because that is what's going to determine as to whether you should advance to relationship with them or not while you're going through the dating process. So if you are dating without a list, a mental list of who you're looking for, again, not physicalities, but morals, values, and views of life and characteristics, then you won't realize whether you've been in the presence of the person that you should be with or you've been looking for in the first place. How in the world can someone find something that is lost if they don't know what it is that they're looking for, if they have no description? So you should be dating with the intent of finding this list of a person. So if you're dating without a list, you need to sit down and find one. If you can't figure out a list, that means you don't really know you, and you need to spend more time with yourself so that you do know who you're looking for and know what maintains or sustains your happiness when it comes to a partner. And the fourth thing is that once people get excited about this list or they realize their list, they get so tired of dealing with crap that they share the list. They tell the people that they're dating what it is that they're looking for in a mate. Now, I know that might sound good. It might sound like, hey, I don't want to waste my time, but in the long run, you actually do end up wasting your time. Why? Because one or two reasons. If that person is a bad person, they are going to take that information that you shared of what it is that it takes to make or sustain your happiness or your happily ever after, who you're looking for in a mate, and they're going to live up to that. They're going to act that way. We've already discussed that people act a certain way to win people over. Now you've given them the blueprint to act that way. They're going to act that way, get what they want, and leave you. Or you will encounter someone that is a good person that just genuinely likes you so much so that you have put them in a predicament that because they want to be with you, they're going to try everything they can to live up to that, even though that might not be who they are. So you're putting them in a predicament where they're going to try to be a certain way just to try to live up to what they feel you need so that they can be with you. And they in turn are going to lose themselves, and it's going to cause a terrible relationship and experience in the long run, because they're going to just shut down and hate themselves and even resent you, and it's not even your fault that they acted a certain way. So the worst thing that you can do is share your list once you realize what that list is, because you give the people an opportunity to act that way, win you over, and you're sitting on the phone saying stuff like, you're too good to be true, and in actuality it's because you taught them how to be too good to be true. They acted the way that you told them that they needed to in order for them to woo you or win you over. And the last and final thing out of the 5, clearly there's many more, but these are the most common, biggest mistakes that are detrimental when it comes to dating. And the last and final one is that people advance from dating to the relationship phase without making sure that the person meets the entire list that they realize that they need, or the ingredients to their happiness. When it comes to a partner, they move on. As time goes by, you're dating, you're dealing with people, and you may say your list is 10, and you finally find someone that has 8 of the 10, but the last 2 that they don't check off. And as time goes by, you say things like, well, no one's perfect. Yeah, you're exactly right. No one's perfect, but someone is perfect for you. You would not have come up with that list if you did not have a person in mind that internally is right for you. So not to mention, no one knows what your list is but you. So that's not necessarily seeking a perfect person. Clearly that list has come from something that is very important when it comes to values. And not to mention, when you go into a relationship, it is no way that you can avoid going through the wilderness. You're going to go through hard times. So if you're going into a relationship that automatically comes with hardship, you don't want to go into a relationship with problems already. And what I mean by problems already is, if they don't have those issues, you're going to have issues with those things that they don't have, and you're bringing that to the relationship, and you're going to always always be getting on them about those issues, when in actuality that's just who they are. So that's when you're getting to the point where you're trying to change someone. No, you need to just keep on dating until you find the right person, and then from that you'll be willing to go through the hardship that you're going to go through regardless with that person, because they're worth the fight in what it is that you're going to go through in a relationship anyway, because they have met the ingredients of your happiness. If you ever cook the recipe, if you're missing something or you add something different to the recipe, it's not going to taste like the recipe that you've chosen. So why spend so much time prepping and investing in something that is not going to give you the fulfillment that you sought out, because you got the recipe for a reason. You tasted it somewhere. So why get these ingredients and alter them so that you don't get the experience, but you still put in a whole bunch of work for it? That's the same thing with relationships. You should already have the recipe for your happiness, and you should not go into a relationship unless they meet that recipe, that non-negotiable list. That's why it's called a non-negotiable list, because if you don't have it, it's non-negotiable. You do not move on to the next step with that person. I understand that time goes by fast, and again, you get tricked into thinking that, hey, maybe I'm asking for too much. No, you're not asking for too much to have values and morals and standards. No, you're not. Again, I'm not talking about physicalities. I'm not talking about skin tone, height, weight, or body build. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about morals, values, standards, things that you need to have and should have, especially you're talking about children and things like that. Those things you must have so that you can raise your child correctly. So just be mindful of that. Don't just advance. Wait patiently, because that right person is there for you. You just have to wait until you get them, and then it'll be worth it. Because again, you're going to go through stuff that you are going to need to make sure that you can handle or go through the wilderness with that person, because they're worth it. And when you get that list of a person that has it all, it'll be worth the hardships that you're going to go through. That's all I really have when it comes to the 5. Again, there's many more. Matter of fact, if you want to know more than this, and you want to go understand what exactly it is that you need to do to go from dating to the relationship phase to happily married, I've already written out a blueprint in a free video. If you click the link below, it's a free video of a case study that I created, and it's a case study on what I call the contradict your way to love and happiness formula. It is a formula whereby you're going to realize that you've either haven't been doing this at all, you've been doing half of it, or you've been doing it in the wrong order. It is the contradictions that you need to go through when you're going through the different processes in order for you to find the right one, get the right one, and marry and sustain happiness in a relationship with the right one. And I can assure you, when you look at this video, you are gonna be wowed by how it's contradictory, but it makes so much sense as to why people are not successfully going from dating to happily married, because they don't realize this contradictory way to love and happiness formula. So please click the link below so that you can enjoy the video. It has been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed this and you found some value in it that will allow you to go through your dating process a little more smoother without wasting your time. But you take care of yourself, and I really appreciate your mind and time. Again, I am Edward L. Fairley of No Love Incorporated. It's been a pleasure. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.